Morning everyone, welcome to the workshop. Today's machine is a Frister Rossmann 904 Japanese machine. I love these Fristers, really well made. It is in for, it doesn't say, but I imagine it's in for a service. I'll check everything out as I go. First thing to do is give it a little run, just check for noises and clunks. Nice and quiet. Little ticking noise there, you can probably hear. It's probably a bent needle. Need to prove that, take the needle out, run it again. No, not the needle. So it's tapping, that's probably down to lubrication, so we'll get it all lubed up. Teeth are coming above the plate, which is good. They're running, needles going left and right. That's running. That's running. Don't know what this lever does. Not by the looks of it. Makes the machine stop. Might be a cam there that should turn. We'll have a look. Pop the top off. Take the needle plate away. You can actually just pop the centre of the needle plate out on these. Just with your finger, just push up. You want to clean it yourself without taking the plate off, but I'll take the plate off. Get all the fluff out. Quite a lot of fluff in there. Take the bobbin case out, the hook cover and hook. They're quite easy to strip down, these machines. Another busy day in the workshop today. It's been mad lately, so I haven't been able to video a load of machines because I've just had so many to do. School holidays, it always gets busy. Okay, just blow the fluff out from under there, and we'll take these two screws out the side cover. Try not to drop them. One there, one there. There's a couple of little pulleys on these machines on the side. You need to get some oil into them. That's why we take the side off. Flip it on its back. And we can take the base off. The screws are on these, just big ones. Big flat head. Lose the screws. Very solid machines these, well made. Get this base off. Final screw for the base. All those screws are the same length, it doesn't matter which order they go back in. Keep them all together there. Push that out of the way. And then we've got to take the plastic base off. I've actually seen this model before. There's some bits on here I don't recognise. Very similar to the Beaver and the Cub. Get this casing off. That's a longer screw, so I have to remember where that one goes. I'll find there's a screw in here. Yeah, it's a screw holding the side on. Just takes this little end cap off, and then there's probably just a matter of getting that, wiggling that away. A little bit fiddly, but little A-frame there, we'll just blow the fluff out of there. Put that out of the way for now. Now, a couple of little screws on the side. Yeah, I've not seen this machine before. This is a new one to me. It's slightly different from the other Frister machines. See what I've been doing it this long. I thought I'd seen all of them, to be honest, Fristers, because it's not a new machine by any stretch of the imagination. Another one there. Okay, so there's them pulleys there. You can check the belts looking good, which it is. Check out the belt, check there's no cracks or cuts in it. It's a little bit loose, this belt, so what I'm going to do, I'll tighten this up. These pulleys here, they got a left hand thread, so you turn it the opposite way to what you think you should to loosen it, and then you tighten it up the opposite way there. Let's give it a quick run. And it's slipping on that belt there. I'm just wondering if I can tighten that up any more by moving the motor. I'm not going to move the motor a fraction. Just this screw here and this screw here. That moved, so if I can just stretch that a fraction, get that tight. But belts do stretch, but you could normally adjust the machine to take up the slack. Still a little bit loose. We'll just run it again. Yeah, I can hold the machine quite easily, so that is far too loose. Let me see if I can tighten it up on this pulley again. Opposite way. Trouble is, when you tighten that, it loosens that, so you've got to try and find the in-between point. That's better. I can't stop it anywhere near as easy. I could really grab it and stop it, but that's perfect now. Get a bit of oil on this pulley, not too much, because you don't want to get it on the belts. Last thing you want is your belt slipping. Think of this, yeah, because this mechanism's quite tight and the belt was loose when I put it into, this is stretch stitch, when I put it into stretch stitch the mechanism was tight, so it was putting strain on the motor belt, and because it was loose it was slipping, and now I've tightened it, it's actually moving. So once I get some lubrication into that mechanism, that will loosen it up and help. So I think we found the reason why it's come into me. The machine was tight and making the belt slip, so that's probably why it's come in. That's that problem solved. Okay, just going to put some more oil in my little can. People that ask, I use this industrial sewing machine oil. I buy it from a place called Alan Goodrich. They're online. Obviously buy it by the litre. Just top up my little oil can or oil bottle. Go through quite a lot of it, but that'll probably last me, a litre will probably last me a year. Maybe a bit more. Just give this nozzle a little blowout with my compressor. Leave it up like that. What we're going to do now, we're going to run the machine, probably put it into stretch stitch mode, and then do the normal thing of watching all the joints and getting some oil into them. Not too much. That's really stiff, that's never been used. This is the feed dog drop mechanism. What I'll do, I'll tap that in a minute and try and get that released. Not that the customer ever uses it. That's why it's seized, because it's never been used. I won't tap it too hard because it's only really soft metal, but I'll try. If it doesn't work, I'll leave it. It's not worth breaking the machine over. I say the customer's never used it. If you use it, it doesn't seize up like that. It's just been stuck there for years. The oldest machine is probably 30 years old. Put the oil in there. A little hole in that shaft to get the oil into. I can actually hear it's freeing up already now from what it was, which is nice. Just getting the oil into all those moving parts just to free it up a bit. That's it. Put on to zigzag. Just want to get the machine to go left and right. The machine's not actually going left and right with the needle, so whether it's just seized. Yeah. Yeah, whole mechanism's seized up there, so I'm going to get some oil into it. Might need some WD-40 just to release it, but we'll try and do it without. Get the oil in first, all the little joints and parts that move. Turn off the stretch stitch for a second. You can hear the mechanism doing the left and right thing. But the needle's not moving, so I think that the actual spring, the spring that brings the needle back from the zigzag stitch is not strong enough to bring it back because of lack of lubrication, really. So I've got to find the part where it's stiff and get some lube in there. Could be this part here until I can move the needle. Actually, let me get in a certain place. There you go. So this is your needle movement left and right. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but this moves, but it's really stiff. I'm just trying to work some oil into all the bits that move left and right. See if we can see it starting to free up now. You see how the needle's coming across? So I've obviously got it in. It's at this end where there's a little piston that goes into a shaft. So I'm thinking, you can see now it's moving on its own, but it's got to move quick. It's got to go snap straight back. But I'm getting there, because it wasn't doing that a couple of seconds ago. So I'm obviously getting oil into the right place. So I run it slowly. You see this is starting to move now. If you can see that. If you watch this needle here as I go. Get it onto a normal zigzag, which is there. So it's now going left and right with every stitch and snapping back. I'll keep it running for a bit. Get the oil into it, which it's doing now. You'll actually avoid having to use any WD-40. I don't like using as a last resort. It's okay to get the rust out. I don't think there's rust in this machine. It's just tight from maybe not being used. Certainly never been serviced. Well, not been serviced for a long time. Just needed a bit of a little birthday, that's all. Put some more onto the main shafts. Put it back onto stretch stitch, get some oil into that mechanism. That's lovely, that is. I do like it when I can get things moving again. There's the actual mechanism down here, which I'm going to get some oil. I'm going to put quite a bit of oil down here. I don't mind putting oil, more oil down this end. It's away from the needle. You're not going to get it on your fabric. Just trying to get it into the position so I can get some oil into it. Keep running it. Different machine now. Makes so much difference. A lot of oil in the right places. And now I'll show you. That's really freed up the difference before. Before I was pushing it, it wasn't moving back, and now it's very free. All this is free up here as well. Lovely. Just going to blowily fluff out the tension discs, which is this part here. Put a needle in there just to open it up, check there's no fluff. There isn't. That is sweet. Another thing here, you've got the stitch selector here. You see this slider goes left and right here. That should probably snap a little bit quicker than that. So you see how I let that go. It should run along there nice and free. So let's just get some oil in there, work it in. If you don't do this, what you do, you start sewing when you've changed your pattern. You start sewing on the next pattern and it hasn't moved across. So you start to sew, and as you sew then it flicks across. But if you clear that up nice and free, which it is now, when you adjust your patterns, which is this one here, you can see it's actually snapping back where it wasn't before. So that's quite important to get that done. It's not the end of the world, because it will find the pattern eventually, but you'll sort of do 3 or 4 stitches in the old pattern before it flicks to the new one. There's no electronics in this machine, it's all mechanical. Cams and followers. Okay, I'm sort of happy with that now. Everything's oiled. It's got no bulb in it. Let's put a bulb in. What type it is? Let's have a look. It's a screw-in bulb. Bulbs. I was always told never to call them bulbs, they're lamps. Bulbs go in the garden. That's it. New lamp, not a bulb. That's lovely. That tapping noise is when it's on a stretch stitch. Right, the only thing I've got to do now is try and free up this feed dog drop mechanism, which I said I'm going to tap, which I'm going to tap, but I'm only going to tap it gently because I don't want it breaking. Just use a little screwdriver there and just get it to move a fraction. Some more around the mechanism here and here. I don't like hitting these. It's an old machine. The metal's pretty soft on this bit. Just got to get it moving. It's moving now, that's good. Put a bit of oil in it. And what I'd not often do is just tap it back. Just so we can get it going both ways. It is only purely lack of oil. So that actually, see that's moving now. So what I've got to do is work the oil into it from both ends. It's probably enough oil. I can keep it moving, but what's not happening is this bit here should drop once that's out. So that needs tapping as well because that's stuck. So the mechanism's freeing up now. Just going to stand it up on its edge, put some there, and then let gravity do its work. So that oil will go down that shaft and lubricate the rest of the shaft. Just check you're getting this. Yeah, you are. Okay. So that's freeing up now. That's quite nice. But it's still not doing its job because the bit this finger comes out of should move. That should be two separate parts there and there. And it's not moving because it's just seized. But that's nice and free now. That's that bit sorted, so we just need to get this to move. So take the finger out of it, just open these pliers up a bit. Need to get that to move. It's moving if I push it. So all we need to do is get whatever that's swiveling on. Obviously swivels on a point. Just there and there, so that's good. So we've got some oil in it now. It's moving a little bit, and as long as you can get something moving, you can get oil into it by just rocking it back and forwards. So if you've got this issue, just get it to move a fraction, watch where it's pivoting, which is on the shaft down here, and then move it back and forwards, and it will free up. It will. Sometimes it can take 10 minutes, but persevere with it. Don't hit it with anything, but just be patient. Just find a point where you can lift it comfortably. Just hurt your fingers sometimes, but okay. Eventually when it's loose, the actual feed dog will just stay below the plate. They won't lift up at all. At the moment it will, because it's stuck. But the weight of the foot on the fabric will just keep it down, not let it rise. It's freeing up. Just got to be patient. Work some more oil into it. I'll have to just soak the oil up afterwards if it's dripping. And it's 100 times better than it was. This wasn't moving at all, and this finger wasn't moving at all. I love it when I fix machines and find problems and fix them. So it makes the job more interesting than just blowing fluff out. You have to persevere with machines. You've got to work out what's wrong, find the cause, solve the problem. And this is probably very boring for you to watch me doing this back and forwards, but it's not a quick fix. It's when something's not moved for years, you've got to get some oil into it to free it, but eventually it just goes. Last resort, if it doesn't go, is I'll put a bit of WD on it. People think WD is a lubricant, but it's not. It just pushes out water and rust. So if you WD something, you still have to oil it afterwards. This is nice and free now. Not quite as free as I want, so I'm going to carry on working the oil in. I don't recommend you do run it with your fingers in here, but I know what moves, so. This stays nice and free now. If I put my finger on it, just there. If I let go, it moves. Put my finger on it, it doesn't. But it's all about the pressure you have to push to stop it moving. At the moment it's quite a bit. So keeping this still and letting that move is working the oil into it. Drop more oil. Front and back. What this is saving me doing is rocking it back and forwards because the machine's doing it for me. By keeping one bit still and letting the other bit move. It's still moving it. Well, ideally I'd like to let go and this doesn't move, but it is. But when the fabric's on there with the foot, it shouldn't lift up. I mean, you can't feel it, but you can probably see how little force I'm having to put on this now. Just before I have to really clunk it. I'm just going to spray a bit of WD in. I think there's something holding it back. Not too much. Just a little bit. Still moving. I'm not too concerned because if I left it as it is now it would still work. There's not enough pressure to lift the fabric with the teeth. As soon as you put a bit of something on there, it'll stop it moving. So it's freeing up. I'll just give it another couple of minutes. I'll show you when I've got it all back together again how the teeth stay down. I'll give it very little force on this now to stop it moving. Just barely touch it with my fingertip. That's nice and loose now. I think it'll always move a little bit, but you can see there now it's just totally loose. You just touch it and it moves. I think that the two metals are so tight together, I think it's always going to take it with it when it's running. I mean, the weight of the fabric will hold that down anyway. So this is working now, so you put that there. It engages that, keeps that all together, lifts the teeth up. When you do that, teeth drop down. It'll do anyway. It'll drop down. That's all good. It's all working. Right, happy with that. You put a little bit of paper in there just to soak up any excess oil and WD. Put that on the fabric. Nice. Right, start reassembling it now. So we're going to put the side cover on first. Let's put it back in the reverse order. That's there. 3 tiny screws. There's 3 screws there. Just find my little screwdriver. So many screwdrivers here. I'll use this one. Get all 3 started. Now it's in the right position then. The other one was there. It's been an interesting machine to do this one. Not seen this model, as I said. Very similar to the other Fristers. Couldn't actually tell you what this is different to any other models. I mean, the stitch mechanism works differently. Most of the Fristers have it on top, a great big button on top here, but this one doesn't. Yeah. Next thing is the little frame. Give that a good clean. Get all the fluff out. Fun to put in. Looks like you have to. What you have to do. I should have paid more attention when I took it out. Well, that's interesting. We have to do something like that. Well, I'll tell you what, just realised it might be easier to take this side panel off, put that on after. You don't want to break the frame, you won't get parts for this anymore. Okay. Side panel off. Obviously took it off in the wrong order. I think this will be a lot easier to go on, like so. Like that. That's much easier, wasn't it? Okay, so that frame sits in there. Now we can put this back on. That should all screw together. Look at that. There you go, I've learnt something myself today. I'll probably not see another one of these for 20 years though. Hey, but if you're watching it, you've probably got one. So take the top off, take the bottom off, take the side plate off, and then take that frame off. And then put it back that order. So the white frame first, then the side cover. Find life a lot easier by the looks of it. You won't be trying to bend things and crack things and break things. We don't want to break anything on these. Okay, so we've got this big long screw which went in this left hand side here. And then we had another one which was this one with a little washer which went in that one, I think. Yep. Like so. Then we can put the base on. Just give it a quick blow, compressor might kick in. Sorry about the compressor noise. Just get these 4 screws in loosely first. Wish they make them Phillips because they're a lot easier to find the slots. Yeah, get them all in loosely first and then you can line it up before you tighten it. Last one here. Well, there's not too much movement on these, it will pretty much sit in the right place. Little tip is just don't have it sitting on this base when you're tightening them up, have it sat on the machine head so that this base is overhanging. Then you know you're in the right place then. Probably gone off camera a little bit while I'm doing this. Let me just nip these up. Don't have to be too tight. They've got washers on them which will hold it tight. You do them too tight, you probably can't get them undone next time. And these machines will last forever, so they're always got to be serviced. Okay, so it's got the base back on. We've got the little side cap here. This fits into the end. Only a single screw holds this on. Lift that up, not too tight. Don't need to do anything too tight on these machines. Put this needle plate back on. You can snap the middle bit in when it's done. The only thing I don't think I lubricated was the needle bar and the presser foot bar, which I'll do. Do that from the side. Do that now while I'm thinking about it. Not too much, just a drop of oil on the top and bottom of the needle bar. That's lovely. And again, the presser foot bar, top and bottom. Just work that up and down a bit. That's lovely. That's that. And then we've got the top case. Alright, we've got 2 screws. Nearly forgot, which hold the top of the side plate on. One there. One in there. These Frister machines have a nice release mechanism as well for the bobbin winder. It's like most of the machines have a, well, the older machines, not the Fristers, but Singers and Jones and Brother, they have a little internal wheel on here. With this switch, just pull it out. You don't need to unscrew anything. Pull that out and that disengages the machine. Much better action, much quicker, much more positive. You can see with it out, all it does is turn this, not the machine. Push it in, the machine starts running. So that's a much better mechanism. We'll just check the rubber on this. That's all good. I'm going to put a drop of oil on so that gets into there. It's nice and free anyway, but that'll keep it free. This just snaps into place. That's running nicely. So all we've got to do now is sew it in, check the tensions, put a new needle in it, and then check the stitches. So that's the machine serviced. What I'm going to do now is put the sewing foot back on. I will show you the embroidery working now, where you can drop the feet down. Make sure this is nice and clean. Get rid of all the fluff here. That's good. Again, the hook, make sure there's no fluff in it. And then check the hook itself, the point, all the edges. Check there's no burrs, which there isn't. This is nice clean. Nice and clean, this one. Put a drop of oil on the raceway, both sides. Drop the hook in. Put the cover over the top of the hook. This front. Get it all lined up. Snap that across. Turn it by hand, just make sure everything's moving. Let it run. Sounds nice. Nice sounding machine. And the bobbin case. Always run a needle underneath the spring. This is your tension spring here. Controls the tension. It's very tight. I'm going to have to release that. The thread will be far too tight. Let's release that screw so I can get my needle underneath it. That's better. Nothing under there. I'm just going to drop the cotton in there. That's now dropping. Too loose. Nip it up a little bit. That's not dropping, but if I shake it, it does. So that's about the right tension. That's for all machines. It's any machine that's got a bobbin case like that. quick way of doing the tension. Just let it hang. It should hold its own weight unless you shake it and it starts to drop, and you know that's about the right tension. Not too much, you don't have too much on the bottom tension. Top tension's got to be very tight. Let's put a bit of my red thread on this. That's enough. It's probably more on there than I want. It's probably more full than I want, but I'm not going to take all the old stuff off. It goes underneath there, under the spring, and again a little bit too tight. I'm just going to release it. We can always change it once I've started sewing. I like to get it so it's just taking its own weight, which it is now. That's it. Put a new needle in. And we thread it, so it goes round the back here, across this slot, across the tension through the discs, and down, up, down to the needle. So all machines in theory thread the same, but it's got this mechanism. I mean the tension's in different places, but this one comes down through the tension, down, back up, down. The theory is the same. You have a tension, then you have a take up lever, which check spring. My eyes are playing up today. Can't see. Obviously don't forget always when you thread the machine, have the presser foot up, which opens up the tensions. There we go. You can put it down once you're threading the needle. It should be nice and tight, and when you lift up it releases, which it does. Down and up, pull the thread up. That's really tight in there. Oh, that's so tight. Let's try that again. I think I might have overloaded the bobbin. I might have to just redo that. That's better. Right, so that's nice and loose. Okay, so we're ready to sew. So we'll put it onto a straight stitch. Mid-length. Let's get some fabric. Right, so we're all ready to go. Some clunky noises there coming out. Don't know what's happened. Broke the thread, so let's just check what's happening. It's broke the top thread, so the top thread might be a bit too tight, or it's got caught somewhere. Pretty tight there. No, I think it was it's nice and free. I think I went into the wrong place. Easily done. Try that again. Want to know everything's set right. If it does play up, it's probably user error, which it was that time. Having trouble seeing the needle today. Don't know why. Let's try that again. That's better. The fabric's curling up, so I know the tensions are wrong. You can see there, it's just curled, so something's too tight, so we might have to adjust. I think the top one's going to be too tight. Fine line between the two. Let's just go that down to a lower number and try again. Okay, it's still a little bit curling up, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to change the bottom tension, make it a bit tighter. And that sounds funny, but compensates for the top. Instead of making the top looser, I'll make the bottom a bit tighter. It's the quirk of some machines. I used to spend hours trying to get the numbers right, but now I don't. I get the stitch right, and the numbers are what the numbers are. Machine tensions change over the years. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what the numbers say, it's how the stitch looks, and that is much better. So I'm going to up that one more just to see if that's compensated on the bottom. Yeah, happy with that. So it's doing nice individual stitches now. Probably get away with slightly higher bottom tension just to make that top stitch look better. What I'm going to do is just tweaking it, not a lot, just a quarter of a turn. Let's get a nice, if we get a nice straight stitch going, I know when I start to do my zigzags and stuff, it'll be good. Right, that's nice individual stitches top and bottom, which is what I'm looking for. I'll just give it a bit of a zigzag. All the way, nice long stitch. Check the reverse works. It does. Okay, let me just check this now. There's a lot of stitching on there. So you can see when I first started, excuse the mess underneath, it was sort of alright on the bottom, but on the top it was more of a, wasn't individual, it was more of a line. Whereas now it's a nice individual stitch top and bottom, and the zigzags are a nice peak top and bottom. So to throw that bit away, we'll start another bit of fabric. And then we'll check all the stitches. Again, straight stitch. Zigzag. We'll give it a another stitch there. give it a stretch stitch. Put that over there, put that onto length. The machine changes tone when it does a stretch stitch because it's got another action it's doing. So you hear that back and forwards motion. It's always a bit more clunkier when you're doing stretch. It's the mechanism that makes the fabric go back and forwards. It's a nice free machine now, it's going lovely. Happy with that. Now if we take it off a stretch stitch, give it a straight stitch, and I'll show you. Machine's running, turn that, fabric stays still, that mechanism's now fixed, moves, stand still, moves, stand still. So now they probably never want to use embroidery on it, freehand embroidery, but they can now. So that is a Frister 904, serviced, repaired, new bulb fitted, lamp, not a bulb. Nice bit of thread, nice bit of sewing. I'll leave her bobbing in, I'll leave her, that's her stuff there. So all we've got to do now is clean it, check the electrics, I'll just check the fuse is right. Check this, the plug top's wired properly. Should have done that at the beginning, but I forgot. Give it a clean, put the sticker on it. And that's another machine serviced. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you've managed to fix yours, if you've got one of these and that's what you're looking for to try and fix it, and you have done, please let us know. It's always nice to know I've helped someone out. Comment, please subscribe if it has helped you out, because it helps my figures go up. Yeah, all done. I shall see you when I do the next one, and have a great day.